with my voice. Excuse me, but let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the first installment of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I'm your host, Kojo, checking in from what is a very rainy day here in Los Angeles, California. But we're gonna make it a good day. I've done my best to make it a good and productive day so far. So my voice is not all the way there, but I'm happy to be back on the live stream because this is what I enjoy doing. So we're going to be talking about 5 things that can cause a low mood. But before we get started, feel free to use the comment section to let me know what your name is, if it doesn't already show it, and let me know where you're watching from. So let us get started. This is me. Like I said, I'm checking in from a very, very rainy Los Angeles, California. But I'm excited. And I'm hoping that we're going to have a great stream today. We got Amanda in the house. Amanda Grieg. What's up, Dr. Kojo? Fort Myers, Florida. What's up, Amanda? How are you doing? Coast to coast. I'm happy you can tune in today. I appreciate you. We have Brenda Foreman from Montana. What's up, Brenda? How are you doing? We got Rebecca Combs from Richmond, Kentucky. Rebecca, how are you doing? I'm happy to have you on here. And I do want to mention that we did miss a live stream yesterday. I did my best to get to the live stream, and nothing went right. It wasn't a bad day, but I was just behind and behind and behind and more behind. And then, my car tires went out. So that eliminated all hope of getting on the live stream. But, today's been a much better day. My car's at the shop. So I'm feeling good. We got Victoria from Mississippi. Victoria from the SIP. What's up, Victoria? How you doing? We got Holly checking in from Ohio. Holly, what's going on? We got Julia checking in from New York. What's up? What's up? We got Andrea checking in from Atlanta. Jay Barcelona checking in from Brooklyn. What's up? What's up? New York in the house. Olympia, Washington in the house. Grace from Michigan. Okay. We got Callie from the Valley. Okay. Like me. Libby, what's up from Seattle? What's up, Libby? How you doing? Tell Mama Davidson I said hi to. Rebecca said, "What's up? Glad to get advice." Yeah, I'll be giving advice. It's not medical advice, but it's friendly advice, right? To keep me on the right side of the law. All right, North Augusta in the house. What's up? What's up? I love North Augusta. Tell my brother to keep it down. Got my brother in town from Tennessee. Please keep your voice down, coach. So we call each other coaches. I'm on live. Please let Los know too. All right. North Augusta in the house. I love North Augusta. Newport, Kentucky in the house. Turks and Caicos. Draco, I appreciate you. Thank you for your attention. I don't think anybody's ever logged on here from Turks and Caicos. So that's what's up. Dylan, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that. Katina from Greensboro, North Carolina. What's up? What's up? What's up? Megan from Orlando. I feel it a bad day. Yeah, yesterday was it wasn't a bad day. It wasn't a bad day. I make an intentional effort to call days good days, productive days, even if it wasn't like the most productive day. Any day where my family is healthy and the people that I care about are alive is a good day. It just wasn't the most productive day. London in the house, and then we have London, Ontario. Speaking of Canada, I'll be in Canada next week for a YouTube event. I'll post more about that later. Australia in the house, North Carolina in the house, Philippines, New York, Virginia, New York, Canada again. I got a lot of love for my Canadian friends. Florida, Mama Davidson. If we can clip this clip and send it to you, I just want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I love you and I appreciate you. And I think your daughter's pretty cool too. All right. And Melanie, we will talk a little bit about ADHD because ADHD is one of the 5 things that I have in this list that can cause low mood. But this question specifically depends on the medication. There's Adderall that can be like instant release and then this extended release, and they work differently. But I'm excited for you that you got professional help. I'm super excited. Jen Betty, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Somerville, Georgia in the house. Australia in the house. Kendra is checking in from Pennsylvania. She's one of the moderators. So say what's up to Kendra. Atlanta, Georgia in the house. Pittsburgh, California, Virginia, California, Pennsylvania, UK. No, I will definitely let you know. I miss Augusta. I miss the CSRA, and I have a lot of love for my people in Columbia, North Augusta, Evans, Grovetown, that whole area. All right, and how you find the motivation out the house? Well, we're gonna talk about that, but small steps is the way to go. Small steps is the way to go. All right, so and Melanie, let me say this about your Adderall real quick. So your doctor knows that you are. Hold 1 second. Let me mute. I'm trying to tell him to lower his voice. So when your doctor prescribed the medication to you, your doctor was aware of how much you weigh. So if your doctor prescribes it to you, you're good. It's safe. So Melanie, you're good to go. Not because I said so, but because your doctor said so. Just so that we're on the same page, right? All right. And yes, I'm a big fan of you living. And also, Leilani's the other moderator. She's checking it from Tennessee, so show her some love as well. All right. So now the 5 things that can cause low mood. I should put a number behind these, so you can stay focused. Let me do that. I already said ADHD was one of them, because somebody asked a question about it. So you all like to read my mind. I think that's pretty cool. Let me drop the first one in here. Right. And yes, small steps and small goals. Like that's the key for everything. You can take this right here and you can use this for anything in life. So Melanie, I like this a lot, right? So number, how did I post this? All right, number one, 5 things that can cause low mood, right? ADHD is number one on my list because we talk about it a lot on this page. So let me talk about why ADHD can cause low mood, right? So just by having ADHD, right? You are if you're watching this video, Mickey Picky, this cough. Somebody gotta help me get this cough away. So if you're watching this video and you have ADHD, right? That also includes me, right? You have at least 3 times, like you're 3 times more likely. And I've seen some studies that say that you're 5 times more likely to experience depression, right? So that's a very important statistic. What I tell you, it tells us that if you have ADHD, we have to do things to regulate our mood. We have to be mindful of our mood, right? Now you may have ADHD and depression. I like that idea, Kendrick. Get a little bit of water. I like that. Not a water break, but not the water break, but I just need some water to save me. And before I continue, real quick, Facebook, uh, with the notifications, Kayla. So real quick, because I really want you all to be able to tune into every show. So I talked to people at Facebook. They're working on it, and they're trying to give me more information on how people can get access to the live streams. And I posted a picture. It's on my Instagram page on my story, and also on this Facebook page about how you can get these notifications, how you can click this live stream, right? Maybe after the fact, and turn on all notifications. That way you don't ever miss a show. But keep in mind, if you miss a show, you can catch it on the back end, right? So Michaela said ADHD, depression, ADD, OCD, anxiety, PTSD, and bipolar. ADD and anxiety for me. All right, so ADHD is one of the things that can cause a low mood because just by having it, you are at a much greater chance of having depression. So that's very important, And sometimes people will say things like, "Oh, is ADHD that important? Is just somebody who can't focus?" But if you're on this page, right, there's a good chance that you know how severe ADHD can be if left untreated, right? So that's why, who said that they got treated for ADHD earlier? Melanie. Melanie was talking about going to her doctor and getting on medications for ADHD. This is so important because ADHD can lower your mood, right? It can cause you to feel like you are depressed. And there's good news and bad news about this. The good news is that we know the source of the depression, right? And as the great Mac Miller says, rest in peace, he has a line in one of his songs where he says, "Pain's a funny thing when you can't figure out the source," right? But when you know the source of your pain, you can fix it. So if you know that your depression is coming from ADHD, then the light bulb goes off. You're like, all right, cool. So I feel like I'm depressed right now. I'm in the room. The room is dark. The room is dirty. I haven't got out the house in a while. I haven't taken a shower. I haven't brushed my teeth. My memory is all over the place. But because I have ADHD and I feel like my depression may be tied to my ADHD. The good news is that if you are able to treat your ADHD, right, whether it's through, professional help, getting medications and or therapy, and doing things like sleeping on time, waking up on time, or getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, trying to watch what you put in your body, cutting out synthetic food dyes, right, processed foods, trying to eat a bit healthier, all these small things that you can do. Surround yourself with people who care about you, people who speak highly of you. These are all things that you can do to help yourself out if you have ADHD, and that can help with some of the low mood that you may be having, right? So it's very important to understand that ADHD is not just, oh, I'm here, I'm trying to do homework, I can't focus. It's so much more than that, right? It can actually, it can make you depressed, and your mood could be low, and that can affect your productivity and so much more, because depression is one of the leading causes of disability worldwide, if not the number one leading cause of disability. So it's important to talk about these things. It's very, very, very important to talk about these things, right? And let me get back to the comments. I'm at the parent teacher conference. I know. Yesterday my times are all off, but this live stream will be here after the fact. Jacqueline checking in from Missouri. She's one of my loyal supporters. I really appreciate her. And yes, like Kendra said, you should be able to like and follow me. And I'm not sure what's going on with the algorithm, but I'm doing my best to make sure that people can get the live streams. My Instagram is Dr. Kojo Sarfo. My name, which should be somewhere on here, depending on where you're watching. And how do you have ADHD and able to manage your multiple live streams? So I'm using StreamYard, so it lets me post on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at the same time. Because I having ADHD means that we may have to ask for help. So I'm getting comfortable with asking for help. And Michaela says, my daughter has severe ADHD and she's not medicated. She has amazing days and then she has extremely emotional days. So, Michaela, I can relate. In grade school, I was very much like this. I had some amazing days where I felt like a rock star, and other days where I'm just like, I'm just trying to get through school. And my parents, coming from an African household, we didn't talk about, mental health or ADHD or whatever, even though I knew I had it as a kid. So it was kind of rough, but things are a bit better now, right? And let me get to some more. Yeah, shout out Mac Miller. That was my guy, man. One of my favorite rappers. And yes, Michaela, that's correct. So a lot of the coloring that they put in foods are not the best for people with ADHD. And the marketing of some of these, cereal companies is very intentional. And there's also, I'm not hating on anybody, but a lot of times they know that kids like, brightly colored cereals because, you're going up and down the grocery store, you're at, Kroger or Whole Foods or wherever. And then, your child is like, oh, mom, dad, let me get that one, right? That's what I used to do as a kid. I used to ask for like the brightly colored cereals, but sometimes maybe whatever cereal it could be, Fruit Loop, I don't know what it is, but some of those cereals could have some synthetic food dyes in there that could kind of, hold you back. I need routine. I think we all need routine, but for the ADHD brain, we really, really, really need routine. And Leilani said, I haven't been, but they keep changing all my notification settings. All right, so Leilani, thank you so much for this. I'm gonna have my assistant go through and get some of these screenshots, and we will go back to Facebook and we will work this out. So I'm very confident that we'll get it worked out. And even if the notifications are not coming out, I'm not gonna stop the this live show. We're gonna keep pushing because I enjoy doing this, and as long as people enjoy listening, I'm gonna be here. Jen says my ADHD goes through cycles where everything is great and then it's like slowly goes downhill and everything gets so overwhelming. So Jen, let me give you a love of the show. Thank you for sharing, first of all. But this is a really good description in my mind about what ADHD could look like, right? So let me give you the love of the show. That was a funny because my voice is all over the place. But yes, sometimes the level of frustration that you feel with ADHD, it just creeps upon you. Like you put off a couple of things, and before you know it, everything is overdue, right? And that could also lead to a low mood. Love of the show, love of the show. My rest. So you can leave Zoe here. I don't know much about red starburst and ADHD, Libby, but that's a good question. That's a really good question. And Kari, I have no idea who you are, but keep in mind the ADHD is genetic, so your girls are getting it from somewhere. So I'm not saying that you have it, but there is a good chance that you could have it, which could be enough to warrant the conversation with you and your healthcare provider. All right, and let me see. Yes, the daylight savings did kind of throw me off a little bit too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy we have more time in the day, but the daylight savings did throw me off a little bit. It threw me off a little bit. Anytime, Rebecca. I appreciate you. All right, and let me answer Michaela's question, and then I'll go on to the second thing that can cause low mood. I also have a question. I have ADHD and medicated, but I get irritated very easily. How can I help myself from not getting so irritated? All right, so Michaela, before I answer this, keep in mind that this is just, we're talking as friends. Michaela's my friend, and I'm just Koja, right? This is medical advice. Zoe, come here. Don't drink water at the toilet. Yep, good Zoe. Good Zoe. All right, so like we talked about earlier, when you have ADHD, it can be difficult to manage your mood. Your mood might be up, down, it may fluctuate, right? And especially when your mood's kind of going low, keep in mind that when your mood is low, right, or somebody who's depressed, you tend to be more irritable the more depressed you are, right? So let's say this is your mood, right? Mood. This is a good mood. This is like too good of a mood. This is like mania, right? And this is like depression. So the lower your mood gets, the more irritable you become, right? So I don't know if that makes sense, but the lower your mood gets, the more irritable you become. So by managing your mood and by watching, what you're allowing yourself to take in, that could be helpful, right? If you're overwhelmed and you're behind on things and you're in a hurry and you're trying to rush and get things done, if one small thing goes the wrong way, that could like mess up your whole day, or it can mess you up for a couple of hours where you keep thinking about the fact that you forgot your wallet at home, and yet you were on your way to Kroger, you have to turn back around, you got stuck in traffic to go get your wallet, and you couldn't find it. And that could really mess up your whole morning, right? So I think it's important to be nice to yourself, to be kind to yourself, and to treat yourself the same way that you'd want a friend to treat you. All right. And this is also really good advice right here, or good information. I'll leave this here while I get to the second point, right? The second thing that could cause low mood right here, all right, is burnout / depression, right? So with burnout, it's different from depression, right? It was really pouring down here in LA. Wow. We are not used to the rain out here. But with burnout, it's a bit different from depression, right? Depression is a clinical diagnosis, right? Depression is no joke, something to be taken seriously. But so is burnout as well. But burnout is also the way to differentiate, right? I'd probably say burnout is more so an internal, reaction to what's happening externally, right? Now you're burnt out. Maybe you're at a job that is not serving your needs. Maybe you're in a relationship that's not serving your needs. Maybe you're having all these things, pile up, and is this frustrating you? And over time, you realize that you don't have joy anymore, right? So burnout's a bit different from depression, but both of them can cause a low mood, right? They can cause a low mood, and it can make it difficult for you to enjoy life, right? Like if you think about someone who's enjoying life and they're happy and they're on it, right? That person they're smiling, they're energetic, their memory is like relatively on point, right? But when your mood is kind of low, you don't have some of those things. So it's very important to understand that, sometimes depression, you can't really, I'm a Bible believing Christian, but I don't think you can necessarily pray it away. I think professional help is needed in most cases. And even with burnout, you could also say the same thing. So it's better to be proactive and preemptive. So when you start to feel yourself sliding into that hole, that's the best time to reach out and ask for help, right? So as I say this to you all, I'm also thinking to myself, like, all right, it's okay to ask for help, because I've gotten used to saying that. But then when I have to put it in practice, I'm like, okay, this is what it feels like to ask for help. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. No, Zoe will do that where she'll go drink out of the toilet. And I'll tell her, I'm like, Zoe, if you're thirsty, just tell me. I'm your father. Just come to me and tell me that you're thirsty. I'll get you some water. And yes, better late than never. If you can get something done, you can still cross it off your checklist. And let me see, systemically understanding burnout. Andrea, I remember that the live stream we had the other day. But I agree, we need breaks from certain people, and certain things, right? And there's nothing wrong with putting that boundary in place. Maybe you tell your boss you need Friday off so you can have, let's say it's Memorial Day weekend. Maybe you might need to take Thursday and Friday off so you can have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. Sometimes we have to be crafty with how we can like put like a vacation or a staycation in our calendars. But I think it's very important to rest and to find time to rest. And Jen says, "Mommy burnout makes everything so much more difficult." So this is something that obviously I'm not a woman, so I'll never understand what it's like to be a mother. Hopefully I'll be a parent one day, but it's really difficult being a parent. And that's something that I've learned from being here on this platform, that yeah, I believe you can get burnt out just by being a parent, and especially single parents when you don't have any help. I do think that if you have another person helping you raise a child, that's really helpful, right? Really helpful. All right, so Kelly says, what do you recommend for burnout, especially when you're so depressed that you almost don't know what you enjoy anymore or what refills your cup? All right, so for burnout, Kelly, we gotta stack up the small wins. We have to stack up the small wins, right? So if there's anything in life that gives you joy at this point in time, I'll hold on to that thing super close, right? And then build up over time and try and get that momentum, right? And sometimes with burnout, a lot of the times you may have to adjust your environment. Like maybe it's a relationship that is just like is with every passing day is just chipping away at your self-esteem. Maybe it's a workplace environment that's toxic, and with each passing day you hate work more and more, but you continue to drag yourself in there. If you can change your environment, like if you're burnt out, you can do small things here and there to make you feel a little bit better. But I would say if you're able to really get to the source of it and do something to change that, I think that's where you can experience a lot of breakthrough. All right. And I'm going to say, but done for work in a clinical setting. How do you like what you do? So Floriana, I'm not in the traditional, psychiatric environment anymore, but I've worked inpatient. I worked at a jail. I've worked outpatient. I like it all. I mean, I like it all, but I think I'm weird, but I like it all. And I feel like um, when I start to getting feeling burnt out, my ADHD goes into overdrive. It's like my body knows I'm burnt out. My ADHD brain is like go right. No, Jen, this is something that I've seen a lot of myself, right? Because sometimes your brain will tell you we have to keep going, and your body's like, we're gonna crash at some point. So that's where it's helpful to have accountability partners, people who you can rely on, who will say, hey, have you eaten today? Have you taken care of yourself? Like, what are you doing to make sure you can prioritize self-care? Because the basics are always going to be important. And like the basics, I've said this before in the live stream, and I think people didn't hear me the first time, but I really meant it. For people who are not in a relationship right now, if you're not able to, prioritize sleep, prioritize some form of exercise. You don't have to go lift heavy weights, but you got to move your body a little bit. But if you can't prioritize sleep, exercise, and finding out foods that are healthy for you, I wouldn't go into a relationship. I would not do that. I would take care of the basics first, right? You got to build that foundation. Dogs love when you change the water often on that. Mickey Ficky. I never knew this. Libby, thank you. I'm going to start changing the water often. Mickey Ficky. 34 days until Disney's vacation. That's the love of the show right there. And vacations are cool because they give you something to look forward to, And oh wow, so vacation again. That's what's up. Vacations are much needed. A doggy water fountain. No, she's gonna break it. She breaks everything. I keep trying to buy her doggy toys, but she wants to break everything. And Nicole says the small victories will mean everything. That's how my coworker and I have made it this school year by celebrating any little positive. This deserves a love of the show. because sometimes, the way life goes, sometimes we have to work really hard to find the positive, and I'm a fairly positive person, but there's some days where I have to look around and think to myself, like, all right, my family's good, they're healthy, I'm healthy, okay. Like I have to like really look for things to be grateful for. So whenever something small happens, yes, you gotta celebrate it. I think it comes back to my struggles with ADHD and the line of work I'm in. I switched jobs and now work from home thinking that was the answer, but the burnout only followed, unfortunately. So, Callie, I will say this. This is another misconception of burnout. People think that you're burnt out, right? In March, you switch something, and in April, you feel good. It actually takes people sometimes months, maybe even a year and beyond, to recover from burnout. Like burnout is not just like it's mental, it's emotional, it cuts deep. So give yourself some grace, especially with ADHD. We hate routine, but we really need routine. I saw Kendra say that earlier. We really need routine. We need routine really badly. Someone said Disney. Yeah, Disney can be an interesting place to be at. I like Disney. You're saying to work in a correctional setting, been there, done. Yeah, Wanda Lynn, I used to work at if you're in the CSRA, I used to work at Richmond County Jail in Augusta off of Fenzi Road, and that was quite an experience. It was quite an experience. If you're stressed to the point where you're depressed, how do you become less stressed out? Avocado toast, once again, if you have any little bit of joy in your life, hold on to that. Try and stack up wins. It's easy to move something that's already in motion, right? If you're stagnant, it's gonna be hard to push you. But if you're already in motion, it's easier to move something that's in motion, right? So be proud of yourself. If there's anything that you're doing that you're proud of, lean into that. And also if there's a source of your frustration, of course, if it's depression, sometimes the only thing that can be helpful is professional help. But if it's a low mood or something that's like you feel like if you're in a funk, right? Anything you can do to just keep moving forward. You put one foot in front of the other. Do your best to keep a positive mindset, and having a supportive community is very helpful. Congratulations, Sarah. Yay! I deal with mommy burnout daily plus overstimulation. Single mom, 24/7, 7 days a week with absolutely no help. Recently got to a point of telling my kids to stay upstairs and play in their room so I can have a little time. But so look, this might not be a bad option. Like who am I to tell somebody how to raise their kids? But you do need time to yourself, right? And I've seen the videos and TikToks on TikTok where it'll be a mom trying to use a restroom and the kid follows the mom in there. So these things do happen. All right, let me get caught up with these comments. Laura says, when I have stopped enjoying things, I have taken someone I love to do something they love and usually. Oh, yeah. So watching other people enjoy something could help you remember why you enjoyed a certain thing. Laura, I do like that. My son gets a puppy on Friday. He's the only child, so I'm happy for him to bond with a potential best friend. Oh, Leah, I'm super excited for your son. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. And Angelica from Sumter, South Carolina. What's up? What's up? How are you doing? And it takes time. I'm still recovering from burnout, but I can see myself returning from it and rediscovering my passion for teaching. Just taking time. Yes, it takes time. So, as you start to rediscover your passion, those are small wins that you can stack up. But it does take time to recover from burnout. All right. Now, the third thing that can cause relationship issues, let me see what this is. Psychologist doesn't prescribe medication, and DNP can medical doctors NPI. So a DNP can depend on the state. It depends on the state. If it's a full practice state, you can do it independently. If it's not a full practice state, then you do have to do it underneath a physician under who's within that discipline. That's the safest way to go about doing it, because you can get a supervising physician who's a surgeon, but it's ideal to have somebody who's within that discipline, right? Internal medicine, psychiatrist, family medicine, nurse practitioner. You'd want to have a physician who, knows what you're practicing on a daily basis. All right. Now the third thing. Oh, okay. All right. It's time for the water break, which I could actually benefit from. I've been drinking a lot of water today, but my voice is kind of scratchy. So the water break will be beneficial for me. So, all right. Can somebody drop the magic word in the chat, and then we will talk about the third thing that can cause a low mood, which is relationship issues. So it's time for the water break. The water break, it gives us a chance to take in some water, to hydrate ourselves. We forget to do this. A lot of us, ADHD or not, a lot of us forget to drink water, and that's something that I'm working on. And I did find my water jug that Kendra got me, so I will be returning to that shortly. The magic word has been dropped in the chat. Cheers, 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 cheers. Big cheers, y'all. I laughed at that, but I didn't want to laugh while I was drinking the water. Big cheers, big cheers. Oh boy, that's hilarious. Laura, that comment made my day. That's hilarious. Water cheers. So clearly I was thirsty. I had like 3 water bottles today, but I was still thirsty. Ooh, Mickey Thicky. All right. The third thing that can cause low mood, relationship issues, right? And this is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Every relationship is gonna have its ups and downs, right? You're gonna have struggles, but a relationship that is not going well, it can affect your mental well-being in more ways than one, right? This is not just romantic relationships, right? But let's say the relationship between you and your mother. If you're close with your mom and you're not speaking for a little bit, you're gonna feel that, right? If you're not close with, or if you used to be close with your boss and something has happened, right? You're gonna feel that. But especially in the context of romantic relationships, when you have an issue, especially an issue that's not going away or an issue that keeps popping up over and over, that can definitely dampen your mood, right? And it's funny because relationships, we all love relationships, and you look on TV, there's such a big emphasis on relationships and love, especially in this country here in America. I'm not sure what it's like for those who are in Canada or elsewhere, but there's a lot of emphasis on romance here. That's what I've noticed. And it's a big part of our lives. But when things are not going the way that we want it to go, right? People experience gaslighting. People experience abuse, all kinds of abuse: emotional, physical, sexual, verbal. All of these things can be very detrimental to your mental health. So it's very important to just make sure that you're being intentional with whoever you're dating, whatever you're doing, right? Because those things can cause a low mood, right? So that's something that you want to keep in mind. And this could also, can be like a cautionary tale to somebody who wants to get back into dating and they're single. Like, go out there and find somebody. We all want somebody, right? I think we all deserve and we all crave that connection with another person or other persons, right? But it's important to make sure that the people that we're dealing with are not the ones who are causing the low mood, right? So that's very important. And Andrea says narcissistic ill with 3 W's. And mom has strokes. Oh wow, sorry to hear that. 6 months after I had my daughter, almost 2 years ago. Now she's lived in a skilled facility and it's really hitting her hard. How she's declining and realizing my daughter won't get to really know her grand. So Jen, one of the things that can cause low mood is grief, whether it's anticipatory grief or grief on the back end. So we'll talk about this in a second. But I'm very sorry to hear about this, and I'll be praying and wishing the best for your mother. First time listening, my boyfriend just said he's an interesting guy. You like, hey, Badger, what's up, Badger? Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Your girlfriend is awesome. Libby, Mrs. Davidson is cool as well. So I appreciate your support, Badger. Thank you very much. And hopefully, stick around if you enjoy this channel. Maybe if you don't like the live streams, you might like the content, or you might like something on Instagram or TikTok. But I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much. That's a cool. It's better, like the name his mom gave him, or like a nickname. Either way, that's a cool name. That's a dope name. I struggle with this topic of relationships. For now, I'm trying to have a relationship with myself, self-care. Megan, that's the most relationship that you'll ever have, the relationship that you have with yourself, because you are really your own biggest cheerleader. Think about that. When you do something, of course, we want people to cheer for us, but nobody will ever be as passionate about the things that like our stuff like we are, because like it's you, right? So you have to have a good relationship with yourself, and the better your relationship is with yourself, um like it sets the standard, right? It's gonna be hard to accept this from somebody when you treat yourself like this, right? So I think you're doing things in the correct order. I would rather, and I say this every time, every year around Valentine's Day, I would rather be by myself and be alone than to be in a toxic relationship, situationship, whatever the case may be, because the cost of it can be quite hefty. So you gotta, sometimes when you meet somebody and you're falling in love, you don't think of these things, but the cost can be quite hefty. Oh man, when you're on different wavelengths and not even arguing, when you're just not matching up. The awful passing in night phases. Ooh, the best advice I got was spend every day with your husband, wife, as you are dating them and winning them over every day. It keeps the romance alive and helps to keep the ships passing in the night at bay. Oh, so Leilani, I really like this. I'll give you love this show right here. Ooh, I came out wrong. I gotta go deeper. I can't go high. I gotta go deeper. But yes, this is really important. And not dating your person, your partner, your spouse, can I believe that can cause low mood. It's very important because especially those of us who have ADHD, we tend to start relationships like on fire. And that's how it's been for me. Like I'll start a relationship, like I'll be on fire. I'm like, oh, okay, she wants flowers. I don't think to buy flowers, but all right, I'll get flowers. She likes coffee. Okay, I'll get. She likes the teddy bears. Okay, all right. Go to the mall and get a teddy bear. Right. Sometimes those of us with ADHD will start the relationship on fire, and after a while, you just kind of like tail off. You don't love them any less. You're just kind of like, you just kind of tail off, right? And those things can cause issues in the relationship. So sometimes you do, whether it's a phone reminder or whatever it is, we may have to remind ourselves to keep that. Maybe you can't keep that same energy up all the time, but I do think it's important at least once a week. At least once a week, if you can, get out the house with your person, with your spouse, your partner, and try and do something fun. It can just be going to the park, but if you don't date your person, you will have issues. Like it's gonna happen. It'll just happen. And please go to see your offer to make sure basic needs is met. It's such a struggle. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. You're probably replying to an earlier comment. Okay. I'm in the same boat. I find that no one is going to treat me better than I can treat myself. Yeah, because if you treat yourself really, really, really well, then anybody who comes into your life, they have no choice but to treat you good, or else they gotta go, right? So you're just setting the standard. Um, Andre, I appreciate you. My husband was like, "What are you watching? Who are you watching?" And then he heard the combos we were having, the positive effects of the live shows. Just your TED talk. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, Mr. Shelbrack. Thank you so much. Ciola, what's going on? I appreciate you. Love of the show. And also, date night jars. I used to think that these things were corny, like stuff like that. But I no longer think that they're corny. I actually think that they're really helpful. Sometimes you have to turn things into a game because we get busy in life, right? You might not have time to focus on your partner, but you have to turn things into a game. Like even as adults, I really believe that. It's hard to have a good relationship with my issues when I barely know my own issues. It's really interesting to learn and grow in this. Melissa, you're completely right. So as you know, you make adjustments, right? It's kind of like a coach, in the middle of a game, if they have you figured out, you got to come out with a different formation or something. You got to make adjustments as you go on, but you can't be too hard on yourself because if you didn't know, you didn't know, right? I gave it. I gave him the name Badger when I met him in 2007. He said content is so far good. And I appreciate that. I like that name. That's a cool name, Badger. I struggle with this knowing when it's time to walk away. My ex took me out a week ago to talk. Oh, you met up with your ex. Okay. All right. Let me see what we got here. Turned around and flipped everything he said to me. Found out yesterday he's using again. Oh, sorry to hear that. I'm a fixer. I want to fix it. Knowing I can't and grieving the loss is a struggle for me. I've had horrible anxiety attacks where I feel like I can't breathe. I'm just heartbroken over it. So, Sierra, you have the right to be heartbroken. I'm sorry to hear this. And for those people who are watching, whether it's live or the stream on the back end, if you've never dealt with addiction, you might not understand what this is like. But with addiction, it can be this wicked cycle of sobriety, relapse, and the cost that the person has to pay can be quite large. So I'm hoping that he gets himself together, and maybe you can help him from afar. Sometimes the way to help people is to be here and let them be there while still praying for them and wishing well for them. So very, very sorry to hear this, and hopefully things get a bit better. All right. I've learned this year that circumstances are neutral. It's how I react that makes it good or bad. Ooh, Melanie, you're on point. I, I hope you keep coming back to these live streams. I can't change what happens, but I can control my reactions and mood. If I freak out and get upset, it's only detrimental. I've learned don't let anyone steal your joy. Just keep swimming, set small goals, and keep moving forward. I love the show again. Yay! I gotta go low because my voice won't go high. Roberta, thank you so much. I appreciate you. If your son's anything like me, I think he's a cool kid. And let me see this. My husband was a very patient man uh, with expectations started dating. I had been in one relationship where I was left in another country alone. Oh wow, Mickey Ficky. Well, I'm happy you found a better situation. That first one didn't sound too good. Let me see. All right. Okay, the fourth one. The fourth thing that can cause low mood, we alluded to this a little bit earlier, but is grief, right? And grief is very interesting, and I've said this before. I don't think any of us in the world of psychiatry really know what grief is. It sounds weird, but like we know what grief is, but I don't think like to like I'm still trying to figure out how to approach grief. Like I know that there's no timetable for it, and everybody grieves in their own way. But I don't think there's anything like sometimes you may never get over something, and I think that's okay. Some things I don't know if some things are meant for us to get over, but this can cause a low mood. And with this low mood, you could be depressed. It could lead to a loss of productivity. It could lead to a loss of self-esteem. It could lead to a lot of things, right? But the key is, to be able to grieve while still being put together as a human, like functional. If you're grieving and you're not able to do something, for yourself for a period of time, that's fine. But at some point, we'd like to, be able to return to somewhat of a level of functioning. You might not become who you were before, but we'd still like for you to get out and be able to handle your affairs and move about and still try your best to enjoy like the rest of what life is giving us. So grief can be very complicated because sometimes people feel like, oh, if I grieve past a certain amount of time, it's maladaptive. It's a disorder, and I'm not sure if that's the case, but I do know that we should be given space to grieve in our own ways. Let me see. Better keep the poetry coming. Maybe I'll share some. He's an amazing writer artist. Oh, that's what's up. Badger and Pony. I like that. No, like that's cool. Like I think those nicknames and relationships is cool. I think that's cool. The older I get, everything that I used to think was corny, I'm starting to embrace it. And I think that's cool. And this could be helpful. I'll keep this here. And let me drop the fifth one in here. All right. So this is really important right here. The fifth one right here. And financial issues. All right. So financial issues can cause a low mood, and it's funny because I read a study not too long ago that showed that people who have limited resources as it relates to housing and food, and finances, people who don't have as much in those categories, it takes them a longer time to bounce back from depression, right? And as I was reading the study, I'm like this is common sense. At least to me, I'm like, oh, if somebody can't, if somebody finds a way to get to a doctor and they get prescriptions for medication, but they can't afford their meds, that's a problem, right? If somebody doesn't have a roof over their head, that's a problem. Like, are you thinking about, ways to take care of yourself and ways to be mentally healthy if you don't have a roof, you know, to be under? These are fundamental needs that every human being needs, right? So, for people who struggle with lack of resources, whether it's financial issues or whether it's like homelessness, it does make it difficult to keep your mood up, to keep your self-esteem up. And I think that's something that needs to be talked about more, because a lot of times we'll say things like, oh, go out and get mental health help and meds and prescriptions and all kinds of stuff. But sometimes it sounds weird coming from me because I'm a mental health professional, but sometimes all people need is an opportunity to get some more money, just straight up. Sometimes people just need a little bit more. Of course, money management is also key, right? Because we could get more money and maybe we're in a Mac episode and we blow it away, or maybe we miss budget or we run out of money. Fine, that happens. But sometimes people just need more provisions to be in place to help them out, right? And I like what Kendra's saying here. This is true. Like, sometimes we do struggle asking for help. I know I'm somebody who struggles asking for help. It's been that way my whole life. I have to learn how to ask for help. Something as simple as, hey, can you get that thing from the next room for me? Like, I always felt like I had to go grab that thing myself, right? But there's things like food stamps, the WIC, and different government programs which can be helpful, and like Andrea is saying, if you're trying to get better and you can't afford help, it does, yeah, it makes it difficult, and I think that someone who does not acknowledge the fact that having limited financial resources makes it harder for you to get better, it's kind of like a form of gaslighting, like somebody saying, hey, I don't have money to pay my bills. I can't feed my kids. I don't have it right now, but I need mental health help. For the other person to be like, oh, well, I mean, like, just see a doctor and just pay $400. They don't have the money. They don't have the money, right? So if you don't have the resources, it can cause low mood. We call it dysthymia. That's a term that we use in the professional world. But this low mood, low grade depression, when you feel like you're just low vibrational, that can come from a lack of finances, right? So I think it's very important I mean, I'm not a politician. I don't know politics at all, but if there's ways for the government to help out, there's so much that I don't know. We won't get political today, but I feel like the government could help, in certain ways. But lack of finances can cause a low mood, and it can, negatively affect your mental health. All right. Hi from Tampa. Hey, look, Taylor, you're good. You're good. It's all good. You know, I, I started the show 12 minutes late. I wanted to get it at 3 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. EST. I came a little bit late. Yeah. PK, yeah. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yes. You know, and this is funny, Megan. This is hilarious. I'm trans financial rich woman born in a poor woman's life. This is funny. Hey, hopefully just like some a magic pill I can give you, to convert you back to a rich woman. That's funny. And money management, especially for those of us. I can't talk today. Make you thinking. For those of us who have ADHD, or things like bipolar disorder, it can be very difficult to manage your finances, right? And it can be something as simple as, if I have my debit card here, I'm paying bills, right? I could give my card to somebody and say, hey, I'm feeling impulsive. I'm feeling, a certain way. Can you hold my card for me, or just keep me accountable? I've done things like that before, and it's helped to save me a lot of money. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I need another PlayStation controller, or I need another thing for my Switch, right? But when's the last time I played a Nintendo Switch? I want to play it, but it's not everything that I need. So sometimes going through somebody else can help you save some money. All right. My husband calls me the favorite queen because I always ask. What's in my shirt? I'm gonna say fresh on here. I always ask him to do this or that, but that's because I struggled for a long time trying to do everything on my own. Oh, just to prove that I could. That was my issue too. I tell him it's because I'm growing. No, you are. You are. Maybe I have to be the favorite king in my life and start asking for like some small favors here and there. Getting government assistance isn't a bad thing. Yeah, I completely agree with that. You know, I made sure I'm not alone because I'm struggling with my own depression. And yes, so that's a potential tip for anybody. If you're alone and your mood's off or your mood's low, if you have a chance to be around people, that can be very helpful because sometimes there's a natural tendency to want to isolate. You know. Oh, Mickey Ficky. Yeah, I've been there before. Medicaid is the main source of income for therapists here around the boot heel of Missouri. I'm in the poorest country in the state. Everyone deserves help. We need help, more help for sure. For sure. And it's funny because I thought Mississippi was the poorest state in the. Oh, you're in the poorest county in the state of Missouri. Okay. All right. I did that thing where I read too fast. My bad. Yeah. But like I'm such a big fan of people who need the help getting the help, right? All right. Okay. So those were the 5 things that can cause a low mood. Let me recap and put them in here. Right here. All right. So back from the top one more time. Number one, ADHD could cause it. Burnout/depression could cause it. Relationship issues could cause it. And number 4, grief. And 5, financial issues. Kendra, my bad. My bad. I was like, oh, I could just mention it, and Kendra would have just had it on the screen. You know. And yes, I do believe the U.S. needs better mental health care, and I mean, hopefully, I can be part of the solution. So hopefully, as I get more influence, I can, I can. I don't want to get into politics. Politics lowers my mood, but I mean, if I got into some type of legislative something that helped out, I mean, I'd be down for that. But I would also monitor my energy because, like, I can't let anything break my spirit too. Callie, I'm not sure, but this will be a great lane for whoever, like, if somebody's an actual financial advisor and they work with people with ADHD, I'd look into it seriously. So I got a package from Amazon. Is it normal for 2 packages from Amazon? People with ADHD to spend money. So I have seen this before where people with ADHD, sometimes people with bipolar disorder can do this as well. So I have seen this before. I don't know if I'd say it's normal. I'm not sure what normal is, but I have seen that before. All right, and let me see live stream. Jen, I appreciate you. Like we're not alone. We're never alone. I'm just in California. Somebody's in Missouri, and somebody's in Pennsylvania, and someone's in Texas. But we're never alone. We just have to kind of like find our community. The problem is getting the cards. Yeah, yeah. So Taylor, you're right. So now I know that I can, if I forget my phone somewhere, all I have to do is like double tap, right? And then, the same the same card right here that I give away to a friend is on my phone now. So it's like, I, I'll find another tip for that. So that tip doesn't work anymore. I'll find something else for that. Mickey Ficky. And oh yeah, we'll have a link up, soon outside LA. I'm planning on getting the comedy shows going going once again in a couple of months. Melanie, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And let me talk about burnout before we end this live stream. How you manage burnout? I'm a stay-home mom to a 5-year-old with ADHD, possible ODD, and an 18-month-old, and I struggle with fibromyalgia and ADHD, and I'm pretty much always burnt out and overwhelmed. All right, so I'm going to take this from a different angle. So a lot of times as adults, we don't really have, as adults, what are we doing that gives us joy? Think about, I know you're a stay-at-home mom, so it's a bit different. So I want to be, mindful of that. But how many things do we do on a daily basis that give us joy? Of course, like I know you enjoy being a parent, but like, is there a hobby that you do or something that you used to do when you had more time, right? How involved can you be with that thing? Because sometimes you need something to kind of like chase or something to work towards that will allow you to say, okay, all right, every Thursday between 6 and 7:30, I have 90 minutes where I get to go to like a book club or read with people. And I can get the babysitter to come and help, or I can get my mom or somebody to come help with the baby. But it's important to start looking for things that you enjoy. Because if you're burnt out, it may take you quite a while to reverse that. So it could be helpful finding out, what do you enjoy in this moment? What can we cling on to this moment? We have to have some type of a win, and if a big win isn't coming soon, we have to find some type of a small win and then try and stack it up and then stack it up and then so on and so forth. So what I would say is whatever is the simplest thing that can have the biggest positive impact on you, I would say look for that, right? If there's one simple thing that you can do that can just free up 30 minutes of time, I would go for that, right? I would go for the low hanging fruit right now, because if you're burnt out and or depressed, everything is going to be hard for you, or everything may feel like it's hard. So I'll go for the low hanging fruit, try and take that, right? Work with that over time and try and stack up the wins, and if, earlier I said, if you're burnt out and is coming from a job and you can find a lateral switch at the job or maybe get a new job, that can be helpful. But you got a 5-year-old and an 18-month-old. This time next year, you'll have a 6-year-old, and you'll have a 30-month-old, right? So you have almost a 3-year-old. Like, your kids are just going to keep getting older, so figuring out how you can kind of prioritize your own self-care within motherhood, which is a whole different challenge of itself. Any small bits of progress can be helpful. That's what I'd say. Any little bit of progress can be helpful. And if this is your first time on the live stream, welcome to the family. We have the Discord link. Put it right here. Discord link right here. You can click that and you can join the family on there. I want to do a better job of being present on Discord because I've been extremely busy, but now that the Oscars is over and, I was working with them, and shout out to the Academy, by the way, I had a great time at the Oscars. It was an honor to be there. But now that I'm a bit more free, I do want to, a bit more free is the key, but I do want to be more present on the Discord and get to meet everybody who is on there. And Jasmine, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on here. Thank you for bearing with me, you all, even though my voice is up and down today. I don't know what's going on, but it will get better soon. And I'll leave this here so that people can read, because I like what Libby put here. United Way, utilities, housing, and Planned Parenthood. Yeah, I'll keep that on there for the people. So until the Melissa, anytime. That's what we do in the live stream, right? And that's one advantage of the notifications not going out to everybody. Like, I do want people to get these notifications, right? I really want people to get them, but when the numbers are a bit lower, it does give me a chance to answer questions that I probably wouldn't get to because, sometimes when the numbers are high, like the comments just come in so fast. So eventually it'll go back up, but for the time being, I'll do my best to get to people's questions. So until the next live stream, which should be Thursday, you all have a fantastic day. Do your best to keep your head up. Let's find those small wins and stack it up over time. And let's find something to, be proud of ourselves. And Mama Davison, I'll end the live stream with you. Thank you so much. It was fun being at the Oscars. And hopefully I'll be there next year. And hopefully I'll get a chance to do some more cool stuff here in LA. So, and Taylor, I appreciate that because it's raining out here in LA. And I don't like it when it rains, but there'll be more green. But again, to be in the live stream, again, to make the live stream, is cool. It makes my day when I'm able to come out here and I don't have to cancel because I got held up or something like that. So until next time on Thursday, I'll see you all then. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Be safe. Keep stacking up the small wins. Yay! We got to go low because we can't go high today. All right, y'all. Take care.